How's it going? So, doing something a little bit different today. Something that I haven't been bringing up a lot in a lot of my videos is that I'm very interested in politics, the inner workings of government, society in general. One of my minors was actually political science, so makes sense, right? Anyway, what I'm doing today is I'm going to read a post that I had put up on my Facebook wall in regards to the events of today with the Supreme Court and over the last week. So, fair warning, I am someone who considers myself left wing. It's really the only way to go in 2022. And with that said, I don't have anything good to say about the current Supreme Court. So I'm going to read what I wrote, and after that, and even during it, I might just add my own thoughts. You'll probably notice that those are live thoughts because there's not much in the way of ums and ahs. I have not been posting much on Facebook over the last few years because I am tired of my posts turning into 12-hour debates. I remember one summer when I was job searching and putting just a little bit of time aside for sleep, exercise, and some kind of socializing, being sucked into a debate that took up 2 days. Yes, that actually happened. I had fact on my side, but the other individual in this debate never yielded. People never do online. It's true. Online, if someone loses a debate, days later they'll come back with some phony source that you can disprove, and it's back and forth and back and forth. Or they'll get somebody they know in person or on their social list online to come in and defend them. It's something that never ends, an online debate. Real waste of time, honestly. I'd only encourage anyone wasting their time with that if they enjoy doing that or they want to polish up their debate skills. Let's see. January 6th made me so angry, though, that I spent 3 days going back and forth on social media. Some can be seen on my wall. I use Facebook every day for a few minutes to keep tabs on a handful of close friends, my sis, and occasionally outer rim people. I can't sit aside and say nothing today. If you disagree with me, please don't bother replying. If you do, I will ignore your post. And maybe watch your opinion on the comment section get tangled into a debate with someone who agrees with me, if I check at all. Today was a bad day. I was going to originally start off by seriously/jokingly asking if contraceptives and gay marriage would be next on the chopping block. It is. To which I posted a link. If you're curious to what that is, just Google this. So, CNN Politics: Supreme Court's decision on abortion could open the door to overturn same sex marriage, contraception, and other major rulings. Yes, that's actually happening. This is not about a baby's life. I spoke with a friend of mine who went to med school, and he told me that if you go back far enough, the cells that make up a baby are alive. If it is a baby, it is not very early on. Also, people coming from this not from a scientific point of view, but just a religious one. A friend of mine posted on my wall interesting quote from scripture. So Genesis says life begins at birth. So there you go. Building on this, the same politicians who supposedly care about the lives of babies before they are born do everything to hurt adoption and slash the social benefits that society can offer impoverished and unwanted children. This is not about them. By the way, the wording's a little strange there. When I say unwanted, I don't mean by society. I do mean by society, but what I mean is by individuals in their lives who don't care about them and they don't want to raise this child that they've had. And if there are no benefits put aside for poor mothers, poor families, all these things just get chipped away. It's a disaster. The link above shows that we are entering a Gilead society. That's a reference to The Handmaid's Tale. Great TV series. Definitely watch it. Final season is coming soon. Great time to catch up. It's disgusting that after 50 years of abortion being legal, a doctor will be criminalized to help a poor woman out. And it is always poor people. Not to say rich people don't get abortions, but the fact is they have more social support if they do carry through with their pregnancy. And by the way, with Roe v. Wade being overturned, they are the ones who will be able to easily cross state lines or go to another country. I saw someone already cynically saying, well, It's not a big deal. Just go to a different state. If you're poor, you can't just go to another state. Do you have a car? Do you have access to public transportation? Um, Imagine all the poor women who may have been raped or are in a situation where having the baby can lead to domestic issues. This will not end abortion, but it will lead an uptick in back alley abortions. Good job, Republicans. I'm noticing a lot of typos in this. Great job, Word. It's a good thing I'm reading this as opposed to just showing you the text. So, with that said, um, it's a really good point. So, the thing is, even if you're anti abortion, something you should keep in mind is this: this won't end abortions. It will lead to back alley abortions, which are not safe. This is a cultural war against women, personal civil liberties, and living in a first world country. Just look at a map of how many countries Latin America, Europe, and many more recognize abortion. So, like countries such as Saudi Arabia, we have more in common with repressive regimes now than free ones. Before moving on to that, it's not lost on me how radicalized the right and the Republican Party have become over the last 40 years. As the judges who legalized abortion had been elected by Richard Nixon, no, he was no Democrat. Speaking of having things aligned with repressive regimes, the Supreme Court also gave the thumbs up for a death row inmate to have the right to die at the hands of a firing squad. So this pro-life court is okay with civil liberties when someone is sentenced to death by the state. Why do we have the death penalty in 2022 in the first place? While this may be more humane than the chair or lethal injection, which doesn't always work well, the guillotine would actually be more appropriate, as it is an instant kill. A firing squad is more like 95% chance of an instant kill. So, quick thing about that. Um, I was saying that cynically. At the same time, though, half serious, half jokingly, I did mean what I said, though. A guillotine is the fastest way for someone to die. Boom, it's over. As a guarantee kill. Shooting squad, yeah, you're probably because with a shooting squad, you have 10 people lined up to shoot you, 5 shoot blanks, so they have to worry about if they were the ones that killed you, PTSD and all. But 5 shots, even if you aim for the head, probably will kill you instantly. Not always guarantee. So imagine that pain and agony that someone is in. So if we're going to go for what's most humane, I would say bring back the guillotine. Not that we should have a death penalty in the first place. The issue I have with this particular court case is it's so silly and theatrical that we have a shooting squad. It's not the 19th century. If we're going to be silly about it, we may as well be silly enough and bring back some of the guillotine. Does that sound stupid? Sure it does. So is the shooting squad. So is the death penalty. Let's see. So, which is why I say right here, so why not use the guillotine? Because it's theatrical like the 19th century firing squad. Again, the civil liberties the right cares about has to do with someone's choice and how the state can take their life away. So the court supposedly cares about the life of a baby that may not even be human yet, but is okay with the state killing a person. Now, while people are alive, this same Supreme Court just made it easier for folks in New York to carry a concealed gun. Let's pause for a second for that. A concealed gun. People can do that now. So you can find that, and just Google all this, but for ease of reference, Eyewitness News, ABC 7, Supreme Court strikes down New York concealed carry gun law. So, yeah, crime rates in the big city going much higher. Oh, and people under 21 in California can purchase semi-automatics now. This isn't a war zone. You don't need a semi-automatic gun to hunt a deer, even to defend your house. You don't need that. And that's just bowing to Second Amendment protagonists, trying to bridge some kind of a gap. That's not needed. Google it. Source for this was NBC News. Moving on. All after the record number of shootings in our country, you supposedly, as a citizen here, are protected through your birth, but your safety and life and right to live, regarding the death penalty, are not sacrosanct. And it's true. It's absolutely true. You have no right as far as if the state decides they can kill you, and during your life, you don't have guaranteed safety. Now, it's impossible to guarantee your whole life you'll be sheltered and safe from violence, but the state can do its part with that. So, Supreme Court sides with inmate who wants to die by firing squad. Got that from CNN Politics. Again, just Google it. Having fun yet? Well, there's more. Let's not forget the new ruling making it easier for cops to get away with telling someone without telling someone their Miranda rights. So, if you're living in this gun-toting society with less rights than you had a year ago, the law itself may not be a good refuge if you are accused of a crime. Let that sink in. So I found that from CNN, Supreme Court Miranda rights. Again, it can be many other sources you can look for. This is all over the place. The next one is pending, but you may not even be allowed to live on a planet that isn't completely destroyed by humanity due to climate change. So much for caring about the life of a baby. So that's West Virginia versus the EPA. That's from NPR. This is all to say that these lawmakers do not care about an unborn baby, even if it's debatable what that stage is. This is about breaking the wall between church and state and using literal, puritanical, and theocratical laws that enshrine sexism and moral judgments over marriage, sex, and lifestyles. But hey, at least it's easier now to carry a semi-automatic gun meant for a battlefield to protect said rights, right? I mean, you certainly don't have the right to remain silent anymore. And women over their own body. Speaking of a theocracy, with the state now being allowed to fund religious private schools, keep in mind these are private schools, and they're supposed to be, look at the Bill of Rights, a barrier between church and state. It's easy to laugh at the idea of a private school run by Scientologists or trolls who, in parody, say they follow the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. It is true that it takes many steps to dismantle a wall between church and state. A wrecking ball would be a good analogy of what the Supreme Court has now done with the decision found at the end of this paragraph. Church and state, separate per the Constitution and the Supreme Court, is supposed to be upheld as the ultimate law of the land. Don't believe for a minute that this won't embolden people to force their beliefs on other people with very real laws in the future. So I found that through NBC News. Supreme Court okays use of public funds for religious schools. Welcome to Gilead. It will go down. This won't stand forever. People will rise up. To all my female compatriots and friends, you have my support now and forever. To everyone else, don't vote for the Republicans this midterm or in 2 years, unless you want the remaining Supreme Court seats to be radically right-wing for the next 50 years. Remember, the most recent appointment was someone in their 40s. With their 4-month vacations and socialist, tax-paid, top-of-the-notch health insurance, these justices are living into their 90s. Don't be stupid at the ballot box. Which is a good point, by the way. As much as Republicans, the right wing, will tell you it's some terrible socialist, which isn't even a bad thing, but some terrible socialist scheme for people to have health care, these same politicians get public health care from their jobs. Taxpayers pay for this. So it's good enough for them. And it's top of the notch. Best medicine, best doctors in the world. And, it's where to even begin, right? With how much of a lie it is. But the point I'm making here is very simple. If the Republicans take back the Senate and House, or even one of them, it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to get anything done. More of the public, especially people on the line with how they feel about the Democrats, are going to be angry, more likely to vote Republican in 2024. That's a whole nother story. But if the Republicans come back into power and they hold power for 8 more years, you're going to see more Supreme Court justices who are around and get appointed. And could you imagine what would happen with the remaining seats being held by, what they call liberal judges, being held by conservative judges? People being appointed in their 40s, being able to easily live into their 90s and keep their job. Society will be irreparably damaged. Everything that's happened today will take years to repair, but it could happen. But we're in dangerous territory here. In the meantime, march, organize, vocalize. The internet allows us to reach out across the world. and share a tweet in under 10 seconds. This is not a time to be docile. They can warp the law beyond recognition, but they won't be in office forever. Fight back at the ballot box, and yes, peacefully, by marching on the street. Don't vote Republican either. This is a lifelong commitment. And yeah, yes, I am partisan, proudly so, because this is definitely a situation where one side is right and the other side is left. And this is one of those things where right is wrong and left is right. Puns intended.